Back in 2012, at WrestleMania 28, the world was treated to a truly genuine dream match scenario. What would happen when the WWE's most charismatic and electrifying performer returned to the ring so he could set his sights on the man who had grown to be the face of a company that had completely changed its presentation around him? It was a match that was built for an entire year, as The Rock was set to take on John Cena in this legendary dream match in which John Cena suffered a massive loss to The Rock. Well, during Cena's heart-to-heart with the fans the following night on Monday Night Raw, we heard the music of a returning beast. If John Cena was the man that the company completely created its presentation around, well, this returning octagon fighting beast of a man would change its presentation just like that with his return to the ring. However, after his epic return that is in contention as one of the best moments in Raw history, how exactly did they treat Lesnar? From WrestleMania 28 to WrestleMania 29, WWE's now residential monster didn't really do a whole lot. He only had 3 matches. So today, I'm going to be taking a stab at everybody's favorite giant sword tattoo and take a look at this weirdly bizarre time in Brock Lesnar's career. Hey guys, my name is Dominic from GrappleNation, and today we are going to be rebooking the first year of Brock Lesnar's return to the WWE. Keep all of this, the John Cena sad boy hours, the Brock Lesnar music, the pop from the crowd. That will be awesome, and it was awesome. So, Brock Lesnar is finally back in the company, and after this shocking return, the crowd is wondering what will happen next. Well, on the next week on Monday Night Raw, I'll tell you what happens. We have that now famous brawl between John Cena and Brock Lesnar, the one in which, weirdly, John Laurinaitis was a part of. Don't know what that was all about, but we're gonna use him to our advantage. So John Laurinaitis comes out and says, "This is Brock Lesnar. He is my buddy. He is my pal. He is the greatest man of all time." Or, you know, insert some really good John Laurinaitis impersonation here. Either way, though, in the middle of his speech, here comes Brock Lesnar, who basically takes the microphone away from him and, well, intimidates him to get the hell out of the ring, because John Laurinaitis is a weasel like that, and him standing next to Brock Lesnar is really weird. But before John Cena comes out and we have this whole huge brawl, Brock Lesnar takes the microphone and has a few things to say. He explains that he's only back in WWE for 3 key reasons. 1, because he got bored of dominating the UFC and wanted a different challenge. 2, because he can make a hell of a lot of money doing it. And 3, because he's tired of seeing weaklings rule the company. Since his absence, the show went PG and is now being dominated with all these smaller guys, and he sees John Cena as being the catalyst for that change. So, at Extreme Rules, he wants to completely end the mindset of this child-friendly show. So, at Extreme Rules, Brock Lesnar obviously beats John Cena. I mean, the fact that he doesn't beat him in real life is still a baffling decision to me, because Lesnar had just returned and then he freaking loses to John Cena, who will later have his entire year retconned as a bad year for Johnny Boy. It's so stupid. The fact that he does it is so stupid. Brock beats him. Clean. I don't give a shit. He just... Why did they do this? However, that begs the question, what happens next? Well, nothing really. Brock kind of announces that he's a huge star and he doesn't want to be working full-time, so he's just gonna show up whenever he wants to, take a paycheck, and destroy the guy opposing him. And, I mean, considering hindsight being 2020, that's sort of his entire mindset anyways. He shows up when he wants to, and that's exactly what he's gonna do in my booking. So we jump ahead to the weeks after Money in the Bank with a returning Rey Mysterio losing the Money in the Bank ladder match. However, after losing that ladder match, Rey Mysterio on the next night on Raw is being interviewed by, I don't know, some backstage hand who asks him a few questions. After losing the match at Money in the Bank, Rey Mysterio, he's being interviewed backstage on Monday Night Raw. However, he is then handed a piece of paper by a backstage official. Rey Mysterio kind of reads it, says nothing, and walks away. Later on in the night, Rey Mysterio is being announced and advertised as one of the key members of the roster that will be on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. So, on the following week, Rey Mysterio has an in-ring promo saying this. So, I was told to come out here by someone, not entirely sure who. You said it was urgent, so whoever wants me out here, come out then. So yeah, Rey Mysterio is clearly like, why am I out here? I don't know what I'm doing out here. Someone wants me out here. Who wants me out here? Well, we all look up at the stage and we see everybody's favorite walrus walk down to the ring. That's right, strap in. It's Paul Heyman. Now, crucially, Paul Heyman comes out here, grabs the microphone, and no music is played during this walk down to the ring. Why, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you why, because he says this. He says, "Hello, Ray. Before anything happens, I want to say that I have an incredible amount of respect for you. But, even though I may respect you, I have a lot more respect and love for someone else on the roster. Someone who wants a match with you. So, my newest client has decided to pick you as his next opponent. Ray, the good news is that you're going to be competing at SummerSlam, which will hopefully pay for the medical bills. The bad news is that my new client that will fight you at SummerSlam is him." And so, the crowd look up at the stage, and none other than Brock Lesnar, or however Paul Heyman would say that, walks down to the ring and stares down Rey Mysterio. Brock then proceeds to laugh at Rey Mysterio, pick him up, and F5 him, or considering the fact that it's Rey Mysterio, F5 him before Rey Mysterio goes so fast and spins up into the air, flying away on a tornado of wind that was created by the raw power of Brock Lesnar. Basically, Lesnar F5s Rey Mysterio. I don't know what is with me today. These are weird analogies. Anyways, after the F5, Paul Heyman grabs the microphone and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, my new client is Brock Lesnar." So this leads to a match between Big Brocky Boy and Little Ray Ray, who tries his damnedest to beat Lesnar, but obviously Brock Lesnar with one F5 pins Rey Mysterio, beats him, celebrates, hooray. However, once again, we have that time frame where Brock Lesnar doesn't show up. However, this time, it is announced that at Night of Champions, the next pay-per-view, Paul Heyman will be being interviewed backstage about his new client and this new relationship between himself and Lesnar. So, during the interview at Night of Champions, Paul Heyman explains this new relationship. He says, "Brock and I have always had a close relationship. Sure, there may have been a few rough patches here or there, but I've always known how big of a star Brock is. So, as soon as Brock made his return to WWE, I decided to pick up the phone and call him. He understands that I can be a vital part of the Brock Lesnar brand. He understands that I have the connections and the mind for business that he just simply doesn't have. So, while he goes out there and eats everybody, I'm gonna be behind the scenes filling out the paperwork." However, before Paul Heyman can continue his speech, and yeah, I understand that this is fan service for myself included, but Drew McIntyre interrupts Paul Heyman. Drew McIntyre basically says that he is the chosen one. He was told by Vince McMahon that he is the chosen one, and he's gonna take that message to heart because he believes that he is the chosen one to defeat Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman laughs before saying, "Fine, a Hell in a Cell, you can have a match with Brock Lesnar." Now, if you think Drew McIntyre is a weird choice for this matchup, well, first off, it's fan service. I think Drew McIntyre is awesome. He's a really tall boy. He is a big boy, and I think McIntyre is a good boy. However, Drew McIntyre is also really interesting, and I think that a match with Brock Lesnar could perhaps raise his stock a little bit. Sure, he doesn't have to win, which, I'll be honest, spoilers, he won't, but still, even if he doesn't win, he's in the match with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar! And, like, that should help him raise his stock out of 3MB and Job Squad territory, which leads me to number 2. So, 3MB. I looked it up. They weren't a thing yet. 3MB happened literally the week after Night of Champions in this, well, real world timeline. And so I figured we could kind of just push that back if you want it. I personally don't. It really cemented Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater and of course Drew McIntyre as jobbers for life. Although, to be fair, Mahal and Drew came back with big boy strength and then won the WWE title, so perhaps a 3MB was the best thing to ever happen to them. However, in my booking, it just doesn't happen. Anyways, after that whole tangent, we go back to the actual booking. So, in the weeks after Night of Champions, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar basically do not take Drew McIntyre as a serious threat because, I mean, you wouldn't, would you? Drew McIntyre then starts getting a lot of wins. He starts being like, hey, look, Brock, I can get some victories. And hopefully, Drew McIntyre is then fueled in character by this constant underestimation of the Scottish psychopath. And as Drew keeps absolutely demolishing people using this anger to his advantage, Paul Heyman could perhaps be even seen as, well, impressed by all this, okay? As the weeks go on, as he constantly wins these matches, Paul Heyman could be like, look at this guy. Look at this boy right here. However, on the go-home show to Hell in a Cell, Drew McIntyre enters the ring and cuts a promo saying this. He says that he understands that he is going into this match with Brock as the underdog. He knows that Paul and Brock keep on seeing him as a non-threat, but they should be scared of him. They should be terrified of him because it's Brock with everything to lose. Sure, people see him as a non-threat anyways due to his years of misfortune, but that means Brock, if he loses, will look terrible in relation to Drew McIntyre. However, Paul Heyman basically comes out, interrupts him, and says that you have no chance, since that's what you got, at beating Brock Lesnar at Hell in a Cell. However, as Drew McIntyre and Paul Heyman share the ring, Drew McIntyre sees this as an opportunity, kicks him in the gut, Future Shock DDT right to Paul Heyman, which of course causes Brock Lesnar to come out, and the two men finally have their first stare-off. Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre middle of the ring, before Drew McIntyre sends Brock Lesnar to the outside, winning the brawl. So McIntyre, in this moment, looks pretty good. He's standing over Brock Lesnar. So with that final advert out of the way, Drew McIntyre at Hell in a Cell, as I said earlier, loses to Brock Lesnar. However, this hopefully will give Drew McIntyre some legitimacy. I mean, in my personal booking, Drew McIntyre even kicks out of an F5, but Brock Lesnar does win in the end. However, hopefully this matchup can somehow, if it's good enough, not only cement Drew McIntyre as a potential main event player, but keep him out of, well, jobber territory. And again, if you really want it, you can have 3MB just be formed right afterwards. Drew McIntyre can be sitting backstage, and then Heath and Jinder can go up to him with a faction opportunity, and then, well, the rest will be a depressing history. However, we're going to be skipping a few more pay-per-views once again because Brock Lesnar doesn't see any money in shows like Vengeance and TLC, so instead, he enters the Royal Rumble match. And at number 29, Brock Lesnar makes this massive appearance in the Royal Rumble match, replacing Sin Cara. Sorry, Sin Cara. So, Brock Lesnar eliminates The Miz, Sheamus, Damian Sandow, Bo Dallas, and Dolph Ziggler. This leaves in the ring the eventual winner, John Cena, Randy Orton, Wade Barrett, Chris Jericho, and of course, Brock Lesnar. However, this impressive lineup should only make the final 6 interesting, as number 30 is Ryback. So yeah, Brock Lesnar and Ryback are the only 2 men standing in the ring, and, well, this should look a lot like 2 hams fighting, because this will be awesome. Just a big, beefy brawl between big boy, men, children, men, boy. However, Ryback, during this, eliminates Brock Lesnar. This should hopefully continue the absolute giant rocket push that Ryback was given during his debut before eventually losing to, I believe, CM Punk. However, Ryback hopefully eliminating Brock Lesnar should keep him once again at main event-y kind of territory. However, that elimination should lead, in my opinion, to an actual match between, you guessed it, Brock Lesnar and Ryback. And so we have Ryback versus Brock Lesnar at Elimination Chamber. I mean, here you have Ryback, this massive and unstoppable monster, versus Brock Lesnar, this massive and unstoppable monster, and the fact that these two things didn't just go together is ridiculous. I mean, it was right there, man. Like, that could have cemented Ryback if you were to beat Brock Lesnar as this huge main event guy, and they never did it. I mean, he's the big guy, and he would truly be the big guy if he beat the next big thing. Either way though, Elimination Chamber, Brock Lesnar versus Ryback off the elimination in the Royal Rumble. And unlike all the other matches in this booking thus far, Ryback wins. That's right, Ryback 100% should beat Brock Lesnar in this scenario. I mean, one, it could set up a match later on down the line in a bit of a rematch scenario, but just picture it. Ryback beats Brock Lesnar. Like, he would be WWE champion material. He would be legend material, just waiting to happen. And a victory over Brock Lesnar would mean so much to Ryback. And, you know, hopefully this could save him from eventually getting fired. Or, you know, being partnered with Curtis Axel. No offense to Curtis Axel, he's my favorite job guy. But Brock Lesnar losing to Ryback, that would be pretty interesting. And I think it only makes sense. However, after the match, Brock Lesnar comes out with his steel chair and beats the crap out of Ryback to get his heat back. Okay, clearly he is incredibly pissed off at the fact that Ryback just beat Brock Lesnar in the middle of the ring, and he just keeps beating him up. However, before it gets too violent, it's everybody's favorite daddy. You know exactly who it is. It's his big toy hammer himself, Triple H, makes his way to the ring, interrupting the attack and sending Brock Lesnar out of the ring. So, after Elimination Chamber on the next night on Monday Night Raw, Triple H basically says this: "Since I'm the COO of this company, it is my duty to make sure that all company personnel are safe and protected from serious injury. However, after a year of Brock Lesnar not only dicking around with the company, but also seriously damaging everyone he comes in contact with, it is my duty to try and put an end to it. So Brock, you are going to be suspended without pay for trying to attack Ryback after he fairly beat you last night." And so the next week, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar decide to, well, recreate that angle from in real life where Triple H's office was destroyed by Brock Lesnar. That was a cool moment. Like, it's a pretty underrated moment if you think about it, but that was a cool moment in my head. So Lesnar goes to WWE headquarters and dismantles the office before Paul Heyman says, "Hey, Triple H, so as you can see, Brock has decided to let you know exactly how he feels about this whole suspension thing. So Brock has a simple request. You start paying him, or the next thing Brock decides to break will be in your family." And yeah, the next few weeks on Monday Night Raw, Triple H is clearly worried about his family. So he sends Stephanie and his kids and Linda and Shane all to a secret safe house while they try to kind of control Raw still and sort of try to handle Brock Lesnar with the Paul Heyman personnel, you know, backstage stuff. However, Vince McMahon, because he has got the balls the size of grapefruits, says, "No, this is my show. I'm Vince McMahon, damn it, and I'm not gonna leave because Brock Lesnar wants me to." But of course, this puts Vince in harm's way, and as such, Brock Lesnar, in the next few weeks, attacks Vince McMahon, bringing him to the ring, having him up on his shoulders, ready to do the F5, probably going, I don't know, bleh, or something like that, before Triple H comes out and tells them, "You know what? Stop. Put Vince McMahon down right now, damn it. Fine, you can be unsuspended if you want to. However, you will have a match at WrestleMania in a no-holds-barred match against Triple H. So, Brock Lesnar, he's happy, he gets what he wants, however, he's also an asshole. So, he does the F5 anyways, on to big old Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And now, we have Brock Lesnar, Triple H, a clearly pissed off Triple H, in a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania 29, just like in real life. However, the difference is that this match will not have Triple H's career on the line, because that was stupid, and that immediately gave away the disappointing ending. And, well, my ending won't be disappointing, because at WrestleMania 29, Brock Lesnar beats Triple H. This is another one of those weird, baffling decisions that they made, like John Cena earlier on in the booking, where Brock Lesnar just lost for no reason. Triple H didn't gain anything from the win anyways, so Lesnar beats Triple H. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a good time to actually end off the fantasy booking. I mean, we booked from WrestleMania 28, or the night after WrestleMania 28, to WrestleMania 29, a full calendar year of Brock Lesnar dominating people, yet I don't think anybody really looked that bad in this. Like, I can't really name anything negative happening due to my booking. In fact, I think a lot of positives happened due to this booking. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this fantasy booking. Nobody really loses. A lot of people gain a lot of exposure, and hopefully that would have been a hell of a lot better than Brock Lesnar's weird year in 2012. Like, it was really weird. However, what do you guys think of the fantasy booking? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Please leave this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, but if you have, why not hit the bell to be notified of everything we do here on GrappleNation? Of course, my name is Dominic, and have a good day from GrappleNation. Bye-bye!